Did you know that France, the country we associate with romance, fine wine, and haute couture, holds a rich and complex history that dates back to the ancient times? This is a land that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, been the birthplace of revolutionary ideas, and been shaped by a myriad of fascinating characters. From the enigmatic Gauls of ancient times to the opulence of Versailles, from the turmoil of the French Revolution to the towering figure of Napoleon Bonaparte, France's history is a tapestry of intrigue, triumph, and tragedy. And let's not forget the iconic Eiffel Tower, the heroic Joan of Arc, or the resilience of the French resistance in World War II. We'll also explore how the French language became such a global influence. So buckle up, history buffs. Stay with us as we delve into some of the most intriguing questions about French history. Before France was France, it was home to a Celtic people known as the Gauls. Now, when we think about the Gauls, it's important to remember that they were not a homogeneous group, but rather a collection of tribes with their own unique traditions and ways of life. Their culture was rich, steeped in the mystic lore of druids, and their society was one of warriors and farmers. The Gauls were known for their exceptional metalworking skills, crafting intricate designs in gold, bronze, and iron. They were also renowned for their fierceness in battle, with warriors adorning themselves in torques and wielding long swords and shields. Despite their warrior ethos, the Gauls were also skilled farmers, cultivating grains and rearing livestock. Their interactions with the Roman Empire were significant and transformative. The Romans first clashed with the Gauls in the 4th century BC, when a Gaulish tribe sacked Rome. This event left a profound psychological impact on the Romans, leading to a deep-seated fear and respect for the Gaulish warriors. In the 1st century BC, Julius Caesar launched a series of campaigns against the Gauls, culminating in the Gallic Wars. These wars resulted in the eventual incorporation of Gaul into the Roman Empire. Under Roman rule, the Gauls underwent a process of Romanization, adopting Roman language, customs, and administrative practices. However, the Gauls were not simply passive recipients of Roman culture. They also influenced Rome in significant ways. For instance, the Roman army adopted the longsword, or the spatha, from the Gauls. The Gauls' art and craftsmanship also greatly impressed the Romans, who incorporated Gaulish designs into their own artwork. The Gauls' legacy is not confined to the past, but continues to resonate in the present. The French language, for instance, owes its distinct phonetic features to the Gaulish substrate. Moreover, the Gaulish spirit of resistance and independence has been invoked in various moments of French history, from the French Revolution to the resistance movements during World War II. The Gauls, an integral part of France's historical tapestry, set the stage for the region's future. Their story reminds us that history is not a simple narrative of conquerors and the conquered, but a complex interplay of cultures, identities, and legacies. The French Revolution, a period of radical social and political upheaval, was a pivotal moment in French history. The late 18th century in France was marked by an escalating crisis. Economic hardship, coupled with growing public awareness of social inequality, set the stage for a revolution. The monarchy, under Louis XVI, was ill-equipped to manage the growing discontent among the people. As the cost of living soared and the price of bread skyrocketed, the lower classes, particularly the urban workers and peasants, were pushed to the brink. Meanwhile, the nobility and the clergy enjoyed privileges that were just too hard to swallow for the common folk. This stark contrast in living conditions was the fertile ground upon which the seeds of revolution were sown. The Estates General, a legislative body composed of representatives from the 3 estates of the realm, the clergy, the nobility, and the commoners, was convened in 1789. However, it was marred by conflict and inequality, with the 3rd estate, representing the majority of the population, having the same voting power as the other 2 estates combined. This glaring disparity sparked the Tennis Court Oath, a pivotal event where the 3rd estate declared themselves the National Assembly and vowed to create a constitution for France. As the revolution gained momentum, the Bastille, a symbol of royal tyranny, was stormed. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen was proclaimed, asserting the universal rights of individuals. These events marked the beginning of the end for the French monarchy. The revolution saw the rise of significant figures like Maximilien Robespierre, who led the Reign of Terror, a period of intense political purges. The guillotine, a chilling symbol of the revolution, claimed the lives of many, including King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. The French Revolution forever changed the course of France and world history. It paved the way for the rise of democracy and the spread of nationalism. It gave birth to the ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity that continue to inspire movements for change around the world. Marie Antoinette, often painted as the symbol of royal excess, is one of the most controversial figures in French history. Born an Austrian princess, she was married off to the future Louis XVI at the tender age of 15, a political alliance that thrust her into the extravagant world of the French monarchy. Marie Antoinette's life was one of opulence and privilege, but also of immense pressure and scrutiny. She was blamed for France's financial woes, accused of being extravagant and out of touch with the suffering of the French people. This brings us to the famous quote attributed to her, "Let them eat cake." The story goes that upon hearing the French peasants had no bread, she callously suggested they eat cake instead. But did she really utter those words? The truth is, there's no historical evidence to support this. The quote was first reported in Jean-Jacques Rousseau's Confessions, written when Marie Antoinette was just a child and before she even set foot in France. It seems this infamous quote is more a symbol of royal disconnect than a factual statement. As the French Revolution raged, Marie Antoinette's world crumbled. The royal family was arrested and imprisoned. Marie Antoinette was put on trial for high treason, and in October 1793, she was executed by guillotine. Her final moments a stark contrast to the luxurious life she had once led. Marie Antoinette's life and death were undoubtedly shaped by the turbulent times she lived in. Her story is a potent mix of power, privilege, and the perils of being a queen in an era of revolution. It's a story that has been told and retold, often with a focus on her supposed extravagance and indifference to the plight of the French people. But there's more to Marie Antoinette than the caricature of a cake-loving queen. She was a woman thrust into a role she didn't choose, navigating a world of intense scrutiny and political turmoil. Marie Antoinette's legacy, whether vilified or romanticized, continues to captivate us. The Palace of Versailles, a symbol of the absolute monarchy of the Ancien Regime, is an architectural marvel. This grand edifice, located in the Île-de-France region of France, was the principal royal residence from Louis XIV's reign in 1682 until the start of the French Revolution in 1789. Envisioned by Louis XIV, the Sun King Versailles Palace was constructed to awe, inspire, and manifest the absolute power of the French monarchy. Its construction began in 1664, transforming a hunting lodge into a magnificent palace that would host the court and the government of France. The opulence of Versailles Palace is beyond imagination. With its over 700 rooms, 2,000 windows, and 1,951 fireplaces, it was a colossal symbol of the Sun King's grandeur. The palace's most famous room, the Hall of Mirrors, is a dazzling display of splendor, with its 17 mirror-clad arches reflecting the 17 arcaded windows overlooking the gardens. The significance of Versailles Palace extends far beyond its architectural grandeur. It was the epicenter of political power in France. Here, decisions of national and international importance were made, shaping not only France but the entire European continent. It was at Versailles that the Treaty of Paris was signed in 1783, ending the American Revolutionary War, and the Treaty of Versailles, ending World War I, was signed in its famous Hall of Mirrors in 1919. Even today, the Palace of Versailles continues to captivate with its exquisite gardens, sprawling over 800 hectares and boasting over 200,000 trees, 50 fountains, and a grand canal. From the orangery with its exotic plants to the Grand Trianon, a mini palace within the palace grounds, every corner of Versailles is a testament to the lavish lifestyle of the French monarchy. The Palace of Versailles remains a testament to royal extravagance and political power. Its legacy is not just in the stone and gold that adorn its walls, but also in the history that unfolded within them. Indeed, Versailles Palace is a living monument to a time of kings, queens, and revolutions. Napoleon Bonaparte, a complex figure, has left an indelible mark on French and world history. Born in Corsica just 1 year after it became French territory, Napoleon embodied the essence of an outsider rising to the pinnacle of power. His rise to power was nothing short of meteoric. A brilliant military strategist, he seized the chaos of post-revolution France to catapult himself from an obscure artillery officer to the first consul of France in merely a decade. His audacious coup d'état in 1899 marked the end of the French Revolution and the beginning of the Napoleonic era. As a military leader, Napoleon's legacy is a tale of genius, ambition, and tragic overreach. His innovative strategies and tactics revolutionized warfare, and his campaigns across Europe, though ultimately unsuccessful, are still studied in military academies today. Yet, his quest for domination led to the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives and his eventual defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. But Napoleon wasn't just a military man, he was a reformer too. His legal reform, the Napoleonic Code, forms the basis of much of the civil law in Europe today. He streamlined the French administration, introduced meritocracy in the civil service and military, and fostered education, arts, and sciences. However, his reforms were not without controversy. His autocratic rule curtailed many of the democratic freedoms won during the French Revolution. He re-established slavery in French colonies, a decision that remains a dark stain on his legacy. Napoleon Bonaparte's life is a study in contrasts, a revolutionary who became an emperor, a liberator who reinstated slavery, a military genius whose ambition led to his downfall. His legacy continues to spark debate among historians. Was he a hero who laid the foundations for modern France and Europe? Or was he a tyrant who betrayed the ideals of the revolution? Napoleon, hero or tyrant, his influence cannot be denied. His impact on French and world history is undeniable, and his story continues to captivate us, more than 2 centuries after his death. The Eiffel Tower, an iconic landmark, symbolizes France like no other structure. Its lace-like ironwork and towering presence are immediately recognizable worldwide. But what is the story behind this remarkable construction? Let's wind back the clock to the late 19th century. France was preparing for the Exposition Universelle, a world fair to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. The fair's organizers announced a design competition, seeking an iron tower to stand on the Champ de Mars near the Seine River. The tower would need to be 300 meters tall, a height never before achieved in man-made structures. The winning design came from the engineering firm owned by Gustave Eiffel, though the actual design was the brainchild of one of his employees, Maurice Koechlin. Despite initial criticism and outrage from many French artists and intellectuals who called the design an eyesore, the project moved forward. The Eiffel Tower was assembled with over 18,000 individual iron pieces held together by more than 2.5 million rivets. It took 2 years, 2 months, and 5 days to complete, a remarkably short period for such a monumental task. When it was unveiled in 1889, the Eiffel Tower was the tallest man-made structure in the world, a title it held for 4 decades until the completion of the Chrysler Building in New York. The tower was an instant success with the public, attracting nearly 2 million visitors during the Exposition Universelle alone. Over the years, the Eiffel Tower has served various purposes. It was a radio transmission tower, a billboard, and even a weather station. But above all, it has been a symbol of French innovation, of Parisian elegance, and of the indomitable human spirit. Despite its initially divisive reception, the Eiffel Tower has grown into an enduring icon of France, visited by millions of people from around the globe each year. Its silhouette against the Parisian skyline is a testament to the country's rich history and its spirit of innovation. Today, the Eiffel Tower stands as a proud symbol of French ingenuity. Joan of Arc, a peasant girl who became a national heroine, is a legendary figure in French history. Born in the early 15th century, Joan's life was anything but ordinary. From an early age, she claimed to have visions of saints instructing her to drive out the English and bring the Dauphin, the future Charles VII, to Reims for his coronation. This was during the tumultuous period of the 100 Years' War, a series of conflicts waged from 1337 to 1453 between the kingdoms of England and France. At the tender age of 17, Joan managed to convince a local lord, Robert de Baudricourt, of her divine mission. She was granted an escort to meet Charles VII, who was initially skeptical but eventually won over by her unwavering faith and conviction. Joan was provided with armor, a horse, and a banner bearing the names of Jesus and Mary, and she set off to accomplish what seemed impossible. In the spring of 1429, Joan led the French army in the siege of Orléans, and her presence and strategic input turned the tide of the war. The English stronghold was broken, and the French forces emerged victorious, a turning point that would eventually lead to the end of the 100 Years' War. Joan's military successes, however, made her a target.
Captured by the Burgundians, allies of the English, she was sold to the highest bidder and put on trial for heresy. Despite an unfair trial and brutal conditions, Joan never wavered in her faith. She was found guilty and burned at the stake in 1431, at just 19 years old. 25 years later, a posthumous retrial cleared Joan of her charges. In 1920, nearly 5 centuries after her death, Joan was canonized as a saint by the Catholic Church. Joan's story is one of undying faith, extraordinary courage, and unyielding determination. She became a symbol of French resistance and a beacon of hope during one of the darkest periods in French history. Her legacy lives on, not only in France but around the world. Joan of Arc's bravery and faith continue to inspire, centuries after her death.
During the dark days of World War II, the French resistance emerged as a beacon of hope. This was an underground movement of patriots who refused to accept the Nazi occupation of their beloved France. Comprised of men and women from every walk of life, the French resistance was a diverse and dynamic force that defied the Nazi regime through a variety of covert operations. Their activities ranged from the production and distribution of clandestine newspapers and leaflets, to intelligence gathering and the sabotage of German operations. They were the undercurrent of hope in a time of despair, providing vital information to the Allies and disrupting the German war machine from within. But the road was not easy. The French resistance faced tremendous challenges. They were hunted by the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, who showed no mercy in their pursuit. Members of the resistance had to live double lives, maintaining an appearance of normalcy while secretly working against the occupiers. In spite of the danger, the resistance grew in strength and numbers, drawing support from all corners of French society. They were ordinary people performing extraordinary acts of courage, driven by a deep love for their country and a fierce determination to regain their freedom. Among these brave souls were figures like Jean Moulin, who unified the various factions of the resistance under one banner, and Lucie Aubrac, who daringly led her husband out of Gestapo custody. Their stories, along with countless others, are testaments to the bravery and resilience of the French resistance. As the tide of the war turned in favor of the Allies, the resistance played a crucial role in the liberation of France. They rose up in a nationwide uprising, crippling German forces and paving the way for the successful Allied invasion. The French resistance, a symbol of courage and resilience, played a crucial role in the liberation of France. Their legacy continues to inspire, reminding us of the power of unity, courage, and unwavering determination in the face of tyranny. The French language, known for its elegance and sophistication, has a global influence that extends beyond France's borders. But how did this language, born in a small corner of Europe, become so influential around the world? In the Middle Ages, France was the cultural center of Europe. Its language, Old French, was the lingua franca of the European elite, and was used in courts and universities across the continent. This set the stage for French to become a language of power and prestige. Fast forward to the age of exploration, and France's colonial empire began to expand. From the sugar plantations of the Caribbean, to the fur trade posts of North America, to the bustling markets of Indochina, French was the language of command and commerce. This spread the French language to every corner of the globe, leaving a lasting impact on the cultures and languages of these regions. Then came the Enlightenment, when French philosophers and scientists like Voltaire and Descartes shaped the intellectual landscape of Europe. Their works, written in French, were read and admired across the continent, further cementing French's status as a language of knowledge and wisdom. In the modern era, French has maintained its global influence through institutions like the United Nations, where it is one of the 6 official languages, and the International Olympic Committee, which uses French as one of its 2 working languages. And of course, French continues to be the language of haute couture, gourmet cuisine, and cinema, adding a touch of elegance and sophistication to everyday life. So, from a historical perspective, the influence of the French language is a testament to France's cultural, political, and intellectual prowess over the centuries. It's a story of kings and philosophers, explorers and revolutionaries, all of whom played a part in shaping the French language and spreading it across the globe. The French language continues to be a powerful tool of diplomacy, culture, and academia. And as we look to the future, who knows what new chapters will be added to this fascinating linguistic tale. As we conclude our journey through French history, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding of this fascinating nation. We've delved into the mysteries of the ancient Gauls, pondered the tumultuous times of the French Revolution, and questioned whether Marie Antoinette really did utter that infamous phrase. We've explored the opulence of Versailles Palace, scrutinized the complex legacy of Napoleon Bonaparte, and admired the iconic Eiffel Tower. We've celebrated the courage of Joan of Arc, recognized the bravery of the French resistance in World War II, and appreciated the global influence of the French language. From the ancient Gauls to the modern Eiffel Tower, each chapter of France's history has been a stepping stone, shaping not only France but the world at large. We encourage you to explore more about the captivating history of France and its impact on our world. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time.